to resume our progression on this playlist. Playlist constraints removed. You can now experience it, driver. Face each other proudly in the Maui sun, symbolizing the intense speed clash that awaits you. What do you think? Talking to you about playlists, now that I can do. Motorfest takes on the colours of Red Bull, the most energetic brand in motorsport. They've been investing in iconic racing disciplines for decades, teaming up with the most successful manufacturers. But they also sponsor more than 500 extraordinary athletes who represent the brand in their respective sports. We can't introduce them all to you, but our playlist host, Becky Evans, went to meet some of them in her show, Motorfest, the podcast. They're all specialists in the various motorsports you're about to enjoy. Meet us at our brand new playground at the summit of Maui, a world of molten lava and burning rubber. This one comes from my software. I couldn't help myself.
Hi boys and girls, Becky Evans here. I'm joining Motorfest for this new playlist, and I didn't come alone. Red Bull sets up at the summit of Maui on a playground dedicated to every possible racing discipline. We love it. In this playlist, you get to become a pro at every discipline and find out which discipline is the best. Can a motocross bike beat a rally car? Can an AGP beat an aeroplane? It's up to you to take on the craziest challenges and answer the questions that everyone's asking. And I won't be the only one hosting this playlist. Motorsport stars will join us and give you all of their tips and stories. It's shaping up nicely. Let's go. Let's begin the Red Bull experience.
The clash of disciplines starts now. To get the full experience, check out Sounds of Red Bull, the new track list in the music player. To the next objective. We start this Red Bull playlist with a rallycross race. Let's see how the Ford Puma Hybrid will fare against other rally monsters, like the Audi Quattro, the Citroën C3, or the Focus RS. But before that, we take a look at Motorfest, the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to Motorfest, the podcast. Here I get real with Red Bull athletes to tell us about the intensity of motorsports and the love they feel for it. And let's talk about rallycross, which is the theme of the first playlist event. For the occasion, I asked two of the most exciting rallycross names about their ideal car. Here are the Hanson brothers. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, Timmy, if you were to describe your ultimate dream machine, what would it be?
Something like, what they have in Pikes Peak, a lot of power, a lot of suspension travel, being able to jump really far.
Kevin, over to you.
Like really long suspension travel, so you can jump like crazy. Rebel livery, red.
Yep, okay, makes sense. The car you're about to drive meets a lot of Kevin and Timmy's criteria. I hope you guys will love it. Oh, and to listen to the full podcast, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Just go to the Sounds of Red Bull track list of your music player. Enjoy the race. Playground, boys and girls. Becky Evans here, improvising as the voice of the playlist. Ray Waller, the official voice of the festival, is bedridden, but don't worry, he'll be back soon. I'll be commentating on what you see, and don't blink because things are going to happen fast.
ladies and gentlemen. I've always wanted to say that. In my last podcast, Timmy Hanson explained how essential it is to gather enough speed, keep the nose up, and land flat for a successful jump. Woohoo! Looks like this one. Listen to the podcast. Champion has started in first position, but the big surprise, undoubtedly the Ford Puma Hybrid Rally 1, the brand's first electrified rally car. Last round, boys and girls. Speed clash.
Clash of disciplines. 2 disciplines, 2 paths. Choose your discipline and prove that it can set the fastest time. Becky, your turn.
All right, boys and girls, I'm super excited because we get to see the first clash of motorsports. We're staying in the dirt, and you know the first opponent because we already saw it in action, the Puma. But for the second, you'll have to listen to my last interview.
Hi, I'm Robbie Madison. I'm freestyle motocross rider. I've done a lot of cool stunts.
As a champion athlete and stunt performer, what does flirting with the limit mean for you?
To me, flirting with the limit is like being in the moment. When you're able to flirt with the limit, you're operating at the full maximum potential that you're able to operate. That's the pinnacle, right? That's peak performance.
And you guys, are you ready to flirt with the limits? Team Hansen or Team Madison? Which side are you on? The Ford Puma. Now you know better than anyone what this machine is capable of.
You're witnessing a real speed clash. The first one to the finish is the winner. Right now, the bike and the car are on the same course, but to keep things fair, they'll diverge onto separate routes, designed to let each vehicle work to its full potential. The course is about to split. Straight ahead for the car, right for the motorcycle. The KTM definitely has the advantage of airtime. She's much better at jumping. But the Puma can deal with asphalt and is more reliable on straights. Both have their strong points. Which one will exploit theirs best? No matter the vehicle, dirt requires reflexes, but above all, instinct. Making the right choices quickly is the key to surviving the race.
dirt chapter is finished. We're moving on to asphalt vehicles. We start quietly, and I use big quotation marks, with a little warm-up ride on a racing bike.
podcast studio. Listen to this, folks. What you're hearing is the sound of the KTM RC16 2022 version, and that's my guess for today. 4 cylinders, 1,000 cubic centimeters, 250 horsepower for just 346 pounds. Take a look at this dynamic marvel and get ready to drive in the time attack. Don't forget, when you're driving along the coast of Maui or the streets of Honolulu, you can listen to all the podcast episodes on the Sounds of Red Bull track list. Now, time to unleash the moto racing power.
Boys and girls, this event can seem simple, but it's crucial for our driver. A time attack to test whether the driver can handle the next clash of disciplines. Landmark, and no lie, it's definitely not safe. The RC16 is a little marvel. We had to wait until 2017 to see the RB KTM factory join the competition. The brand has won everything in other competitions, so it was time to see them take on moto racing. Test passed. Now our driver can either play it safe and keep this vehicle or roll the dice with something unknown. It's an agonizing decision.
clash of disciplines in sight. When a racing bike meets a racing car, it's a real battle for the asphalt.
For the next one, we'll put two disciplines in a head-to-head race and see which one crosses the line first. Racing car or racing bike? Which one is the best? Will it be the beautiful Ferrari 488 in its circuit version or the KTM RC16 that we all know has great skills? I'm leaning towards the bike. It's lighter and its top speed flirts with 224 miles per hour. It's the logical choice. But aren't we here to defy the laws of logic? Racing car addicts, it's up to you to prove otherwise. Ferrari meets Red Bull.
Like it never happened.
has just put an end to the discussion.
Turbo Flash. Hear all the insights on the world of racing on Sounds of Red Bull, the official channel of motorsport.
Hey boys and girls, I hope you can keep up because we're about to go hard with the elite of motorsports, the AGP. Cars that can easily go up to 220 miles per hour. And because we always want more in this playlist, we add boost gauges. It's going to be strategic. And as always, I did my homework and talked all things racing with a pro driver. You might know him, Yuki Tsunoda.
Could you break down what you feel your driving style is for us watching you on the screen?
My dad used to teach me a lot about braking. Definitely, I like to adapt braking. Recently, last Grand Prix was a bit too much sometimes, and yeah, unfortunately, a couple of times went to the wall. You know, it feels great when you feel the G-force. You know, with the maximum longitudinal G-force when you have nailed the great braking.
And beside braking hard, be focused at the start. It's decisive for the rest of the race.
Drivers are focused. The start is imminent. Let's go! A full AGP race. Using boosts in the right place at the right time will be decisive. Second lap. Drivers are focused. The start is imminent. Let's go! A full AGP race. Using boosts in the right place at the right time will be decisive. It's going to be a completely different race from now on. Circuit. 4 generations, RB13, 14, 18 and 20. 7 years of evolution from Renault to Honda engines. Between them, these 4 account for more than 70 podiums. Ultimate lap. Drivers, if you've got any extra nitro, now's the time to use it. AGP just keeps getting better and better.
Just discovered the RB20. You can keep it for what follows. And you can also opt for a vehicle that's a little less earthbound. The choice is yours.
The podcast, guys. As you've seen, the playground is a motorsports paradise, but there's still a place that we haven't experienced so far: the sky. I was lucky enough to feature Luke Chapella, Red Bull Air Race pilot, famous for being the first to land a plane on the very tiny helipad 600 feet in the air.
I'd love to know more about the bullseye stunt. There's an attempt, and then the plane like bounces and you keep going, and I had a heart attack and was like, oh my God.
I almost got a heart attack on the first one as well. It took me like 650 practice landings before I went for the actual landing on the helipad. So for an athlete to come out from what I thought was a failure, but that was quite challenging.
So cool. The video is online. You have to check it out. The next race is the most experimental of the playlist: AGP versus stunt plane. Place your bets. Extra. That's not just my reaction, but also the name of your flying machine.
Unsurprisingly, the AGP has the advantage on startup, but once the plane is airborne, it's a different story. If you're a Red Bull addict, You'll probably know that this isn't the first time an AGP and a plane have been put on the same grid. Last time, it was in a straight line in a drag race. Very tight turns if it wants to keep up with the AGP, which is much more accustomed to doing so. That's really exciting! I'm sure you're familiar with the RB20 on the track today, certainly more so than its aerial rival. Stressed for 10G and capable of reaching 975 meters per minute, its size makes it the perfect aerobatic aircraft. Let's hope our pilot will give us a taste. We enter the second lap. Neither of them wants to give up. This succession of turns is tricky. Pick up speed. I hope they haven't forgotten the turn waiting at the end. Another race like this anytime soon.
One more clash to close this Red Bull playlist. This one is big. Confronting two disciplines is not enough. So Motorfest and Red Bull are offering you the choice of three. Which is the best? Becky asked our Red Bull athletes what they think.
In your honest opinion, between rally, AGP, and motor racing, which is the most intense discipline? The one that brings the craziest sensations?
I think it's motor racing, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think F1. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'd go for Formula One.
Rallycross, moto racing, or AGP? Here comes the ultimate challenge of the playlist, but also the end of the podcast. But I'm never far away. I'm always on the air. You find all the podcasts on the Sounds of Red Bull tracklist. And then, I don't know why, but I feel like we'll see each other again soon. It's off to the apex of the playlist. AGP, champion of all motorsports? Yeah, it makes sense.
Who will cross the line first in this head-to-head race? Answer in, about a few minutes. The rally car has already changed its course to reach the dirt. Route designed to match its strengths. The AGP stands out for its speed and braking quality, and of course it sticks to asphalt and is unbeatable in corners. So to make things fair, it will be racing the longest route. The bike's route, on the other hand, is shorter but ultra technical, forcing the rider to swing through the curves without losing speed.
This a do-over.
The AGP seems to be ahead for the moment, but don't forget that its path is the longest. Everything can still change. Motorsport, the one and only.
You've yet to claim your reward, driver. End of speed clash, the first milestone in a promising relationship between Red Bull and Motorfest. I'm sure this is just the beginning. You've discovered a multitude of racing vehicles in this playlist, all of them motorsports gems. But we had to choose just one for the reward. We thought maybe you wouldn't mind having a Red Bull branded Ferrari in your garage. The Ferrari F48H GT3 FA Corse is just for you. Resuming progression on the playlist. to resume our progression on this playlist. Shall we continue our journey, driver? Motorfest unlocked. All clear for you to indulge in, driver. It's the start of a new playlist, driver. Featuring a special guest, it's already shaping up to be explosive. Professional daredevils to craft a new experience for hot hats and customization enthusiasts. They've made a name for themselves by filming their gincanas, limitless races where drifting off the edge of a precipice and jumping over a helicopter become the norm. As you may have guessed, Hoonigan is here on the island. trainer. The Hoonigan Chief Creative Officer, Brian Scotto, has something to tell you.
What up, everybody? Brian Scotto here from the Hoonigans, and this is the Gymkhana Grid Masters playlist. We'll go for it.
You know how many times I've heard this?
Have you ever listened, though? The crew at Motorfest invited us out here to do what Hoonigan does best, and that's build a Gymkhana right here in Hawaii. For this, we obviously need a driver that's ready to go fast and break a few things along the way. Before becoming a proper Gymkhana driver, you're gonna have to master the craft, and that means a bit of workshopping and a lot of action. Every Gymkhana driver gets a dope machine, and you will get yours. But first, you're gonna have to get to the end of this.
No room for cautious driving anymore. Here, you drive like a Hoonigan. Scotto's waiting to introduce you to your new playground. Here, you're going to learn the ways of Hoonigan through various workshops set up by their team. Once your training is over, you'll be a real Gymkhana driver, capable of leading your own Gymkhana. But let's start at the beginning.
Yo, what's up? Scotto here from Hoonigan. Hey, I'm super stoked to see another aspiring Gymkhana driver, and I want to welcome you to Tire Slayer Studios, our headquarters. The Motorfest gave us free reign to create our own Gymkhana Grid playground and practice our craft. This is the place to hone and perfect our skills in 3 different level zones. Show me your creativity, and you might get your chance to become the Gymkhana Motorfest driver. But for now, let me just show you around. You're gonna love it here. Looks like you're not the only one working out today. Lots of drivers out to burn rubber. No pressure. There's no need to rush this morning. Hey, this guy ahead, he's doing great at donuts. New rule, the more tricks you perform, the more bucks you earn. But wait too long between tricks, and the bucks counter will drop. That bonus is for true Gymkhana masters only. Our 360 Madman is back. Go slide his line, just follow his tire tracks. That's why I love this place. You have a wrecking ball, and you always have guys to get creative with it. performing the wildest tricks. This is the Gymkhana DNA. Takes a bit of preparation to become a Gymkhana driver. A lot, in fact. But for now, just remember this. If you have the right mindset, you'll be capable of anything. Like drifting to the edge of a canyon, or jumping over a helicopter, or, I don't know, anything. Coming to the end, and I haven't even told you about this monster that spits fire out of its V8. I mean, you are driving the mother of all Mustangs. Cross that line, and I'll tell you more about it. So in the first event, you already get to drive the Unicorn. Realize that's the wildest Gymkhana machine we have ever built. You're a lucky one. It took us 2 years to transform a 1965 Mustang into that. The updated version uses the same Ford V8, but this time with 2 massive turbos. Let's see how you did on this first outing. We'll film a few moments, a good way to see how you progress through the playlist. It's gonna take some time for you to harness all of this power. This thing makes crazy torque. It's not exactly a ride for beginners. All right, look, we're gonna keep the Unicorn, but we're gonna stay on the grid playground. I wanna see how accurately you can actually slide this thing around.
Driver, the real Gymkhana quest starts now with your first drills. Score as many points as possible by performing the requested stunts, and you're sure to impress Scotto. Shouldn't be an issue, the Unicorn was born to stunt. Okay, first training session, we're gonna rough up the Unicorn a bit. We're focusing on Gymkhana essentials, big slides and precision. Get the right amount of points and we move on. You'll love
the next trick. It's the grind rail. To grind these, you need to be properly aligned and to hit them at a high speed to slide all the way. On your right and back again. A figure eight ahead. Try not to slide too wide. Now toss it back the other way. For a little grind rail? Passing through these tunnels earns you points too. They force you to be precise. Come on, one last round. Give me a few more tricks. The unicorn, that's a tire-slaying monster. Don't be shy with it. Hell yeah, that's my driver. The first time we installed the grind rail was in Florida. We thought a car doing a skateboard trick, man, that's gotta be cool. And it was. You've just taken your first step in the quest to becoming a Gymkhana master. The tricks we set up require a ton of precision and therefore training. Proper car control requires timing and impact. Everything is weight balance. Engage the brake hard at that perfect moment, get proper steering, but above all, never lift. Let's see how you handled your first slides with the unicorn. All right, so now the real test is gonna be whether or not you can manage to put this all together in real Gymkhana conditions. First, I got this first stat I wanna put together. There's two cars I wanna see go head to head. Take your pick.
As much as you like in free drive. A great way to hone your new skills. As Scotto said, let's take a break before resuming your Gymkhana quest with a This versus That episode. Hoonigan does countless car-related things, from custo to pro racing. But one of their favorite activities is as simple as it is fun. To compare cars by racing them. comparing two cars that are very special to our host. You'll find out more later. But now, you just have to pick your horse.
The Coupe Quattro, a turbo monster with infinite blueness. We're into this versus that event. The guys and I do it all the time. We put two cars on the grid and see which one is the fastest. We can only compare cars for the fun of it. Don't worry if you lose. But let's see if you bet on the right horse. Our two competitors today belong to the collection of a true Volkswagen nerd, me. These cars on track, it makes me feel emotional. And a little bit anxious, to be honest. Don't crash yours, please. I'll tell Gary the same thing. This race is like seeing a Jack Ferdinand Porsche fighting a buffed up August Hork in the octagon. In the red corner, the 965 Turbo, upgraded to over 400 horsepower with Japanese aesthetics. Love this one. And in the blue corner, the 1990 Coupe Quattro with a big turbo that takes it up over 800 horsepower. A good little boy. They both have a lot of power, and they're both insane. I'm not going to bed before kissing these two beauties goodnight. It calms me. Listen, you keep that to yourself, all right? It's just, you know, I'm really proud of these machines. See the volcano? My guys are preparing a first Gymkhana test for you over there. Things are gonna get real. The end is near. Oh boy, it's gonna be tough watching either of my babies lose. If you wanna push the car to its limit, now is the time. That wins the Quattro. Sorry about that, Ferdinand. All right. You did great. But honestly, this versus that was heartbreaking to watch. On one side, you've got this 1990 Audi Coupe Quattro that took me a mere 2 decades to see crazy hill climbing beast. And on the other, the ultimate goal for any VW, Audi, Porsche nerd like myself. one of the first 2 cars that Raw Welt ever built outside of Japan. Check out the hips on that thing. I know we patched this whole thing together, but I just can't watch either of these lose, so I'm just gonna keep my eyes closed for this one. All good? Can I open my eyes now? Let's meet at the foot of the volcano. It's time to put your skills to the test in an actual Gymkhana.
The Gymkhana mindset. This event is a validation event, meaning you'll need to use the skills you've acquired on the playground. Scotto wants to see if you can use them in a time attack. The Unicorn will no longer be your mount for this event, replaced by a fully modified 3rd Gen Camaro. Hoonigan created this car at Chevrolet's own request. The brand wanted a special car for a special engine, a 632 crate engine, also called a big block. Hard to miss, this engine literally pierces the hood. Actually, it doesn't even have a hood. Driver.
Hey, welcome to the first test, the volcano. We really spruced up the place. The plan's simple. You go up to the summit, then all right, I'd be lying if I didn't happen to mention a few drivers might have gone down the ravine. It was kind of rough, but that's not going to happen to you. And after all, the Camaro, virtually unbreakable. Good luck. Probably wondering, why a chopper? You'll find out soon. Time to see what you've learned. Finish the race on time. Do as many tricks as you can. And on top of winning that money, you'll win my heart. Deal? That big block is ultra powerful, and that's not a euphemism. But she's not a natural-born Gymkhana machine like the Unicorn. You can drift the streetcar for sure, but it's at your own risk with the handbrake. Yeah, we're gonna jump over it, like now. Now that's what we call proximity. This type of moment in a video with slow-mo, now that's badass. Remember, align properly to take the rail. We designed this path in reference to hill climbs, hardcore uphill races. But in a volcano, dude, you take it up a notch. Come on, I want to see you flirt with the precipice a little longer. Kill these tires. Watch out for roadworks, 100 meters ahead. Slaloming at high speed through roadworks, jumping over a chopper, that's why gymkhanas exist. Follow the chopper. The end is right over there. Okay, that's a shame, but you'll get it next time. Just do the same, but faster.